Bangia, Akorja. Hello, everyone. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. And this is Fireside Chat 128, where I'm in conversation with a member of the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. So, as is customary, particularly these hard times all over the world, I'm going to start with a prayer for peace. Gamara Shiakon or Fudna Krinya. Gamara Shiakon in our Jaili, agus in our Jirha. Gunairi Lin. Lenar Cuj Garmaka, Gamich Buikus Jeev, Jeha Quivdaka, Spirit Quivdaka. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities, for peace. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb, that our swords be beaten into plowshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the Holy Mountain, with thanks to John O'Donoghue. So let me see where you're all from. Norfolk Island, hi Linda. Eric from Canada, Southern Oregon, New Orleans, frozen Ulster. Well, I happen to be in Glastonbury because we have our winter gathering starting this weekend and it's cold. New York, Belgium, North Hampshire, Germany, Bavaria, Portugal, Argentina. Wow, far away. Canada. Let me see where people are. Cozy Crouch End. Look at you, Philippa. Where else are people from? West Yorkshire, West Cornwall, chilly South London, West Wales, lovely Wyoming, Wales again. Wonderful to see you all. Calgary, hello. Where else are we? I was in somebody West Cornwall, that's Penzance. I was there recently storytelling, not in Penzance, but Falmouth, and it was lovely. Gloucestershire, Lapland. I bet you it's cold there. Richmond, Virginia, wonderful. Nashville, Tennessee, Madrid, Wiltshire, Tennessee, Los Angeles, Colorado, Sweden. It's just amazing our broad sweep, or how much interest these chats have all over the world. Anyway, it's lovely to see you all, and let me introduce you. We're going to Cambridge this evening in the UK, and I'd like to introduce my guest, Thomas Marty. Thomas, you're so welcome.
Hi, Eimear. Many thanks for that. Thank you for a lovely welcome and a lovely prayer. It's and needed in today's world and what's going on.
Absolutely. So you're in Cambridge. So I've never been to Cambridge. So just tell us a little bit about your landscape.
Well, it's flat. It's fenland. So if anyone knows what fenland, I'm listening to where people are coming from, all the different, it's brilliant to hear and see so many people from around the world. But Cambridge is flat. So when you drive anywhere, it's flat. When you're out in Cambridgeshire, going around the fens, you're going to the different towns or cities, or one other city, Peterborough. Everything's flat, and it's very rural, and it's Brussels sprouts, or it's cabbage, or it's onions, or it's whatever. But there is something beautiful about that as well. And if you look back at the history of the fens and the fenlands and the people that used to live there out in Norfolk and Suffolk and Cambridgeshire, and the lives that they led, and the things they're finding in architecture at the moment, just the old huts and things, just the wooden posts, and realizing sort of that the way that people would walk through the fens, it's just bog, it's just water. And then what happens, they got the Dutch to come over 18th, 19th century to put all the dikes in to reclaim the land. So they reclaimed a lot of land, but it is very flat. So when we go anywhere else in the world or in the country and you get a hill, it's yay, there's a hill. It's different. Um,
Well, Ferdiad, who's in London, I don't know if you know Ferdiad McGowan, there's altogether too much sky in Cambridgeshire.
True. Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost that like a fisheye sky, so that when you see it, it just goes whoop, and it goes round. But
And
it's
then,
sort there's a beauty with that as well.
oh yes, and Devara of Mani, and Devara, I can't remember, I think you're Scandinavia, wouldn't mind living flat, easier to
Oh,
travel.
really? Yeah.
And Anne Beer, who's in Canada, says, I love wide skies where you can see the weather coming from so far away, like the Canadian
Yes.
prairies.
Yeah.
Uh,
And where I am, I'm on the right of Cambridge, a town called Fulbourn, and it's almost like one of those weird places where you see the weather coming towards you, and as it comes towards you, it then goes around you. So you see the bad weather coming, you see the dark skies, you see the oh my God, we'll get the washing in, and everyone's running around doing things, and suddenly it's just dry and nothing. But you're aware, and every now and again you might get pitter patter rain or whatever. But the weather goes around Cambridge. We say
oh,
it's
that's
because we're
very nice.
special, but
Well,
maybe
it seems it's like water going around a boulder.
yeah,
And of course, you
yeah.
said fenland, and I think people misheard you. So a fen, I come from the bog, which is acidic, and fen is
Ah,
alkaline, isn't it?
yeah. Oh well, I'm not a scientist, so
Well, neither am I.
um,
I'm just a bog woman, so I know these things.
careful.
So, so yeah,
Yeah.
so fen is bog as well, but it's alkaline, and
Ah, right.
peat
Okay.
bog is in the Midlands in Ireland, where I come from, is acidic.
Lovely. We've got on where I am as well, Fleam Dyke. So it's one of those big dikes that have gone across that area. There are two or three of them, the Devil's Dyke, and there's another one or two that I can't remember the names. That in the olden days stopped people travelling through their areas. Um, so it's quite a nice walk to go up there and walk along, and there's a burial mound at the end before the A11 cuts through it, and you have to sort of go across the bridge and follow it through to its ending. So it is a lovely area.
And I'm
It's
just,
nice.
you mentioned the Devil's Dyke, and I'm cutting across you as I'm interested. Is there a story about the Devil's Dyke or how it got its name?
Quite possibly, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that one. Um, yeah, and yeah, I'll only start making them up, which isn't
Oh,
wise.
stories are good too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I just asked Devourer, who's his Mani is the moon in Old Norse, and the Devourer is called Hati. He chases the moon across the sky, and at Ragnarok, when his father breaks free from his chains, Fenris, Hati shall swallow the moon, and his brother Skull shall swallow the sun. Okay, we'll watch out for that one.
Mm.
Someday it'll happen. I'm not so familiar with Norse legends.
Mm.
But just little bits I know. So thank you for that, Devara. Anyway, tell us a little bit about you. And are you from Cambridge? Sure.
No, I'm a Londoner by birth, southwest London, Putney. Grew up there. So I grew up literally beside the River Thames.
Okay.
So I was lucky that there was water flowing. There was a common land, so that we played football. We went exploring in the trees and into um, the ferns, and there was always a chance to go into nature and play and do things. Um, I went to school, and I wasn't really a great school. Really didn't do much for me, shall we say? Sort of, I didn't sort of enjoy it. Primary school or secondary school. But then when I was 18, 19, I had three choices really of what I wanted to do in the world, and or perceived choices. My dad was um, a teacher, and he was a very creative man. He was an artist. And so we grew up with music in the house. We grew up with beautiful paintings and ideas. And later in life, he became a carver, a wood carver, and all the way through that time growing up, he encouraged us to think outside the box. He introduced Edgar Casey to us. So from an early age, it was like, oh, there's something different from what we had grown up in, and something. And so that fired me up in my teenage years to, this is interesting. This different world. This another way of seeing life and living life. And I think that's what I got involved in, rather than the normal subjects that
Mhm.
you do at school. I was more into the esoteric type things. Um, I then became an actor, so there was choice was the army. I'd always been quite interested in being a soldier, or that sort of army life. Then I tried the army cadets and realised that I wasn't very good at taking orders. People got hurt. I might get hurt, so let's not go there. And realising the complexities of what it's like to be in the army or whatever. Then it was choice of becoming a teacher like my dad, and I realised I just wasn't going to get the A levels. I was failing them beautifully, so that wasn't going to work. And my interests, because in school there was a youth theatre company attached to the school, and I just started doing that. And I just fell in love with uh, the art of acting. So I that became an easy choice because it seemed to be the only one that was going to be open to me. So I thought, okay, do that. I'm going to become an actor. I was also a musician. I'd learnt, picked up the guitar, and the heady days of the punk world in the 1970s was, yeah, do it yourself. Just go out and just do it. You know, if you've got an idea, go ahead and do it, explore it, play it, see what happens. And I love that way of life. I love the idea of that sort of, if you want to do something, the only person that's going to stop you doing anything is you, and
Right.
whatever else around that. So I was in a band with a friend called Jerry, so we were Tom and Jerry. And then we sort of went into another band. I went off to drama school at the same time, 3-year course, and then came out and did 15 years as an actor. At the same time, I was writing plays. I was sending them out to different places, gigging with the band, writing my own plays and putting them on my own theatre company, Fat Rat. We were called Fat Rat Theatre Company. Only did a few, but on the fringe in London. Um, and then sort of remembering that the acting business is a business, and sort of it can wear you down from the inside, shall we say. And if things aren't happening, if the doors aren't opening and it isn't going as you would like it to go, it's the old thing of when you're on stage, when you're working, you're the king, you're the brilliant, you're the queen. It's great, but it's the other side of that business. It's getting the jobs, it's surviving, it's doing whatever. But in that time also, I'd started to do healing courses.
Okay.
So I got interested in Reiki, also as a masseur and a reflexologist. And I thought, oh, well, that's an easy cross from one career into the other. I was still in London all this time up until the age of 40. Then I met my wife, who was up from around Bury St Edmunds, Suffolk, but in Cambridge. So, and it was an easy decision to give up that life and move into a new life. Um, with that came children, so suddenly I was a father, and I had to put the guitar down. Up until that point, I was doing lots of gigs by myself because the bands I were in hadn't worked out. And it's that old story of you're trying to do too much, you're
Mhm.
juggling. And whilst you're having a fantastic time, and life is brilliant when you are being creative and things are working for you, nothing beats it. Um, but then suddenly responsibility, oh, you need jobs. And so there was like 2 or 3 jobs, whatever it was guard, I was working in factories, I was doing whatever, for the first year of moving up. Because I'd go to places and they would say, "What are your skills? What can you do?" And I say, "I'm an actor. I can act. I can do whatever." And they just say, "No, no, no. But what are your skills? What
Real
can you
skills.
actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, what can you do?" And I was going, "What? Oh, I don't understand. No." And then so I was a postman. I pulled trolleys around in factories, but it was a good. It was rebooting everything,
Yeah.
because suddenly the ego that had been tempered all of those 15 years as an actor had to be put into place and sort of come down a little bit. What really matters in life, and it's the simple things. It's relationships. It's looking after your loved ones. It's that sharing. It's going back to basics. And then somebody strangely offered me a teaching job. They said, "Would you like to teach drama? Can you teach drama?" And I'd learned to say yes. Um, and so this school said, "Would you come be our drama teacher?" I said, "Yeah, that's fantastic," and just went online and researched and thought, "Well, I can do this." And so I taught in a couple of schools, but what I found as well is that I was still too close to it. It was a passion still with me, and when you are teaching, it's a slightly different hat you have to wear. It's a vocation. You're working with your students, whatever age, whatever they're doing, and you're going to get all types of students, and especially in schools, kids are not going to want to necessarily put themselves out in front of other people. And that was a hard one for me to realize, but surely everybody loves to act. And they go, no, we were embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed, sort of my self-worth is low anyway. Why would I want to make myself even lower? So you're learning, so all this stuff is going into your head and you're going, oh, right, okay. Um, and my wife had a theatre and education company going anyway, so I joined into that. She wouldn't let me join straight away. She said, I want to see you teach first.
Ah, wise
Because
woman.
she's an incredibly wise woman, very good woman as well. And so I did some writing classes first with some younger ones, and they went really well. Really enjoyed those, and then I got into the teaching of acting, and that's how that sort of led on into the other things. And Eimear, it was one of those strange ones. I always sort of was scared of teaching or going into that because that was my dad singing. My older brother did that. My older sister did that. She's a musician, and my younger brother went into it. And I thought, oh, I've run away. I've got away. And then suddenly you're teaching and you're thinking, I quite enjoy this.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not bad at it. It's, sort of you're getting good results, and the kids are, and it was mainly with young people. They were coming back and wanting more and more and more. So that was sort of moving up into Cambridge. Did that for 10, 15 years. Started to run workshops because I realized I did enjoy teaching, but I also enjoyed doing the creative side of things.
Okay.
So I was working with people with mental health issues. I was working with people with different autistic issues, and going in and running acting workshops or writing workshops. And in the meantime, there was this thing, sort of where had I put my healing stuff? And I was meeting like-minded people, and it was dotted here and there, and I was going, I need that part in my life, sort of. I need that spiritual
Mm.
assurance. I need that comfort. I need that link with other people, because what I've always found is that there's the spiritual people, and then there's the people that you want to talk about it with, and you can't talk about all these things to anybody
Mm-hmm.
because they'll all go, well, you're mad, you're talking about a spirit and a tree, what's going on? That's just wackiness.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. And you're thinking, but I know it does. And so you find like-minded people smoking cigarettes on street corners or whatever, going, oh, can I tell you about my experience and what's going on? And you have those experiences, and they're great because it leads from one thing to another group. And up in Cambridge, I met a group of the three beautiful women dressed in black, and sort of we would meet in these dark rooms and sort of have not seances, but sort of the equivalent of tables flying all over the place, people coming in and just going, wow, this is wacky, but it's great, I love it. And then at a certain point I was around 52, 53. I just suddenly thought, and now the kids are of a certain age, everything's going okay. I'd managed to get a job in my present college as a teacher at that point, teaching drama. Everything was sort of going well. And I thought now, and I knew it was time to get back into the spiritual big time. And so I said, what is it? Where am I going? What's coming my way? I was Reiki master, Karuna master. I was all these other things, and I'd gone from course to course to course, but nothing fulfilled. There was always something missing, and I didn't know what it was, because that's why I was searching. And I was led to shamanic practicing, or a shamanic sort of lifestyle, or looking at it. So I looked it up. I found the group that I wanted to work with. And again, it was just one of those organic bang. Yeah, this is the place I need to be. 3-year course. But initially, I spent a year doing weekend courses with them and just finding my feet, learning to journey, bringing in the allies, learning to work with the allies, learning to respect them, learning to respect myself. And then I did the 3-year course, and that was just completely life changing.
This was in core shamanism. Just somebody has a question,
Yeah,
Brian.
absolutely. Yeah, core shamanism, and that worked for me. And I thought, well, what do I do now? Now that I've done that, and I had an Irish friend, and so there was a group of us that went to Ireland. We went to the Hill of Tara, the Cat's Cave, the Morrigan Cave, and a couple of the other burial places, the big ones, and did a little tour. And I loved that, and I just found it was incredibly empowering again. So I thought, I know, I'm going to give myself a project. So I started to journey, even though I was in Cambridge, I would journey to sacred spaces in Ireland, sacred places, and have my interactions and learning to work with the land. How can I help you? How can I heal? What can sort of, and doing the exchanges and things. Then I went to Wales and did the same thing through the lakes and certain places in the mountains. Went to Scotland and then through England, and then I worked with the ley lines in and around London. Again, and just trying to work stuff out. And then my friend in Ireland said, "Tom, stop that. Go and look at Druidism." And I went, "Why?" And they said, "Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're living. That's going to open things up for you." And I went, "Oh, okay." On the websites again, looking around, and Obod just sang. It was one of those moments, and you just go, "Okay, brilliant." And I wrote down some things here that is on the web on the first page. The Voyage of Discovery, life-changing, life-affirming teaching, ceremonies, meditation, exercises, visualization, storytelling, music, poetry, rituals, closer connection with nature and themselves and yourself, sense and purpose, magic, community, friendship, philosophy of Druidry. And I just went, well, what's not to like? It's life affirming. It is, well, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the question that I've always been asking all my life, who am I? And I know all the answers that you would find in books or whatever. Oh,
Sean Clancy is one of the, well, I would
yeah,
describe, maybe he won't, he's one of the guardians and guides of Ishnok. And I don't know if you've been to Ishnok. So he goes, wow, such a journey. Would love to know, have any of the particular sacred locations held any deeper significance or resonance for you?
yeah, Morrigan, Cave of the Morrigan.
Yeah.
I have a lovely link there, and that comes out in healing work that I do now.
Just describe your, I mean, not the personal piece,
Yeah,
but I've been to Uvnagat a number of times. It's an amazing place. To just describe it as you saw it, just for our viewers, because I'm sure many have
okay.
not been there.
First of all, it's somewhere around here.
Yes.
Where? Where? I'll try out that road. Oh, there's a house here. Oh, look, that hedge looks familiar, because you've seen it on YouTube 1,000 times, and then the journey's in there and whatever. And you go, oh, right, okay. Is that it? What, that little crack there?
That's
Okay,
right.
we've got to be respectful. Come on. And you do all the tuning in. And then it's the coldness. It's the change of atmosphere, but it's the mystical, and you walk in and it's not comfortable. You sort of have to scrabble over stones, and I think it was to the left as you're
Yes,
going in,
looking
and
down,
then it's
it's
it's a
wet.
womb. You're walking into, if I can, the vagina. You're walking into the ground. You're walking into Mother Goddess, and you slip down a little bit, and then you come into this space, and this space is awe-inspiring. We've got our torches. So again, and it's
You
ribbed.
cheated. You used torches. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
we were men, or
Oh,
we were
you witches.
scared. No, but we turned them off as well, Eimear.
You're
So we didn't just
just
massive
make
torch
it
coming
time.
down.
Because
But
two people, Linda, just people saying, where is it? It's Uvnagat, means the cat of the caves. It's in Tulsk, County Roscommon, at the back of Rachrahan, which is where Queen Maeve and Alil had their stronghold. So, and when Thomas is talking about, where is it? It's behind a hedge. And normally you either look up or you look over to see a cave. You have to look down, and it's this little rectangular opening that doesn't look like anything, and you have to crawl in, and then you go down, and then down, 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 and it's fascinating. So anyway, I'm glad you turned off the light, because that's where
Well, you have to. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right. But you go down there, and because I had looked at YouTube, I'd said to everybody, "Where wellies?" Because you go down there, and there's an inch or 2 inches of water.
Yeah.
But that aside, then we would turn off, and then we tune into the area. And I've got to say that there we got something. We got a nice feel to it. But it was almost like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here? What do you want?"
Yeah.
And there is, as with all great spiritual sacred places, don't just walk in thinking that, well, I paid me money, no, I've made this pilgrimage and blah blah blah. You got to sort of earn the right to work with the gods and goddesses, because when you do work with the gods and goddesses, when they come forward, you know about it, and then life becomes real, life becomes sacred, life becomes, you couldn't bottle it, put it like that. It's intensely personal, and it's intensely empowering, invigorating. And I found that it was not until I journeyed there later, after I'd got back, and that's when the smack happened. And then it was right, okay. So I'm blessed in the sense that I work with Morrigan, and I work with I think it was Blackthorn with the Ogham energies, so that I will work using Blackthorn energy to work with people like in depression or something like that, and then bring Morrigan through as well as an extra. And we go into the cave. She lets me bring the client into the cave, and she will do her work, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it doesn't take that long, which again is the wonderful thing. It's spirits in, and it's does the work. Things are moved, things are shifted, things are implanted, and then it's okay, and that's it. And in the olden days, there've been times we'd go, I must sit here channeling energy for 40 minutes so that they get, it's not, none of that. It's the in and out, and it's the bang. It's just fascinating. So that area there was one of my favorite places.
Yeah,
To go
and
to.
Sean, who's the
Oh,
guardian of
right.
it, one of them, he's just put the link up for that virtual
Yeah.
for anyone to watch it, because we have people on YouTube as well. He's on Facebook, so people on YouTube watching it, so people can have that. Devourer has a question. Have you ever felt a hand on your shoulder while meditating? Happened to me
Yeah.
once. First, I thought it was my spouse, till the moment I realized I'm alone at home and I'm single. Got scared.
Don't be scared, because you can ask spirit to take a step back. There's times when, when you're calling the allies in, your protectors, your guides, the gods, the goddesses, that it can feel like just an energy and coming in and just holding, just supporting you. Sometimes you might get like that, a hand on the shoulder, might be an ancestor coming in to work to let you know that they're there. They're not meaning to scare you. It's meant to be a support thing. Work through that first feeling of, oh, I'm feeling something, just to go, okay, thank you for that. If it's uncomfortable, please take a step back, and you'll find that they will take a step back. Now take a step forward, just so that I can feel your energy. Who are you? See what comes up, and go with the first few things that flicker into your head, into your mind, because that will probably be the first, because your normal mind would then try to edit it and say, well, it couldn't possibly be this, that, and the other. Why?
Thank you. And Linda just asked she wants to confirm with you. So you connect with the site remotely?
Yeah.
Because you've already been there.
I've been there, and to be honest, there's a lot of sites that I connect to remotely, and it's the intention. So go there and work with the spirit of wherever it is. So I've done lots of the stone rings, where again that I haven't been to physically, but my intention is to journey to the spirit of the ring of whatever it's called. And then sort of as you get there, when you see, because I'll have looked it up on YouTube, I know what it looks like. I know where I'm going to come in on it. So again, it's you've already called your power allies in. So you're coming in with an energy. They know that you're coming, because we would say in shamanism or shamanic practitioner that everything is by design. We've contracted this before we've come down. Tonight, everyone that's here tonight, we've all made a contract that we would be here on this evening to listen to each other, to ask our questions, to get information. And we might not know the reasons why or whatever, and sometimes it's immaterial. But the thing is that I will have done that. And so on nights like tonight, it's been planned. The right people are here. And and then that goes for when you're journeying to a place, you're bringing in your energy. They know you're coming because you've already planned it, that you're going to go and be there that night. So go there full of joy. Go there with love in your heart. And if you're going, we know the biggest energy is love. There's only one energy, it's love. It's how we twist it and play with it. That matters. But if we go in there with our hearts full of love, we will get the experience that we're there to get. Okay, so you might find that it is a no, not tonight, and that's fine. Maybe there's something we need to work through before just get that, or you might just get and the big welcome and see the phase, either whoever, whatever, and you are welcomed in and have an experience.
Wonderful. Yeah, I remember my first time going to the Uvnagata. Tulsk does not have any head torches, so I had no light. And I was with my husband and my two children, and they found it very dark and they left. And then I just went in myself. And then I went back again. And it's more than wellies you need. I had a waterproof jacket, and so that I didn't mind getting mud, because they have a beautiful clay in there, and you come out covered in it. And for me, it was, I brought a small drum with me. It was like I'm at home, just going deeper and deeper. I loved it. And I didn't want to have to come out, but my family were waiting. And I thought they're going to get really scared. Like, what's happened to her down there? Brilliant place. So well worth a visit if anyone's coming to Ireland. It's not one of the bus won't take you there. The tour guides won't take you there. But you'll find there's an interpreter centre in Tulsk. And then if you ask about it, it's well worth it. To take that journey. Pat has a question for you. How did you find your allies and guides?
Okay, in as a shamanic practitioner, we all say shamanic practitioner. We don't call ourselves shamans, because with the core shamanism, we give the respect to the people that are the tribe people out, and the tribes that are living it day in, day out. They are, and it's your community that would call you a shaman. So please excuse me and bear with me when I keep saying shamanic practitioner. You can journey to the lower world to find specific allies. So as part of the training, you would journey to the lower world to find a protection ally. It might be a 24/7 protective ally, or one for specific purposes. So if you're doing specific healing work, the idea is that it's not us, it's never us doing the work. Everything, all the healing work that is ever done, you do it as teamwork with spirit. So you are working with allies that are coming and that want to work with you. If I'm doing attachments, taking entities out of people, I know it's not me. I'm working with sort of allies that will come in and facilitate that work or do that work, because they're working in spirit, and I'm sort of doing the physical thing. But we work together. It's teamwork. So you go lower world, or you go to the upper world. For the power animals tend to be in the lower world.
Sorry, the what in the lower world? I missed that.
The power animals.
Oh, the power animals.
So
yes.
so also the ancestors are down there as well. If you go to the upper world, they tend to be teachers, tutors in human form, who could be anything with antlers, and or you may as soon as you say it's this or the other, you'll find that it won't be that. Yeah. So it's a way of teaching. So this will go specifically for that, but then be prepared to find whatever the difference. But if you ask and you create your own ritual, spirit will step forward.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Poppy says, knowing that it's all a contract with each other helps to let go of stress.
yeah,
Um, yes, because it's things are unfolding as they're meant to.
yeah,
And there's something about going with that and just
yeah.
letting it happen rather than fighting it. And Pat says, thank you for answering. And just something earlier, Sean McCann, who's in Canada, every time I have the fortune to tune into a fireside chat, it makes me want to drop everything and travel, to go on pilgrimage. This is great. So Celine has to leave. She's got friends. It's too bad. It's so interesting. So she'll catch up tomorrow. So people are really enjoying this. And Shirley said, me thinks I'm here because I belong here. That's true. So it's just beautiful. And then Tara says, the fireside chats always offer what I don't expect, yet always what I need. So that's I've Sean Clancy again. You can imagine how much of a challenge it would have been in times past. This is a Nuv Nagat. If you did have a light, it was a naked flame, and that it was competing with you for the oxygen, so you start holding your breath. Anyway, if any of you don't need a light, I'm telling you, because the walls are very narrow. You just use the hand and just go slowly down because it's steps. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
I don't know who made them or if they're naturally made. Anyway, and the cave goes under the road. There's a great story that a woman was chasing her. She had a kind of an errant calf, and she was chasing this calf, and she managed to catch it by the tail just as it went into the cave. And she held on tight into the cave down, and she wouldn't let go. And she came out at Keshcoron in Sligo. And these are these huge
yeah,
caves associated with the three hags that tricked Finn McCool. Anyway, just lovely stories about Uav Nagat. So, yeah. So there's lots of answers around how you how people come in their own ways, coming in contact with their own guides.
yeah. And listen, take note of dreams. Listen to words that come up to you when you're being quiet and when you silence the mind. Ask a question. You can sit there and again, sort of a simple ritual, just light a candle, 3 deep breaths, bring a light in and around you, open your heart, and ask, is there a special guide for me with me at this moment in time? Can you show yourself? Can you give me a symbol? Sometimes they won't show themselves, but they might give you a symbol, a picture, a sign. Um, and sometimes it's an unveiling. So you get bit by bit by bit because there's a trust there. Because as with relationships in the human world, you don't necessarily give everything away in the first meeting, because someone might say, thank you, grab it, I've got this, I've got that, and never talk to that person again, never bring that guide or ally in.
And Sean has a question. Are there any books you'd recommend to study on core shamanism, or is it better to learn it in person?
Michael Harner is,
Yeah.
if you like, the father of core shamanism, American anthropologist. I can never get that word right, and anthropogeny. And he was the first person really to go down into South America, discover that people were using. I've got my drum that side of me. We're using drums and not necessarily the ayahuasca or other ways of working. And the drum is 4 to 7 beats a second, change your brain waves to beta, which is a dream state, and that you can be taken into a state where you are suddenly envisioning. You can see, you see spirit. You're having an interaction experience. That he's got a couple of books out. Have a look at him.
I'm just
Or
going to
go
chat because it's someone's asking Michael who.
Harner, Harner.
How do you spell Michael?
Michael.
I should know that, for God's sake. It's what we're using.
Yeah.
And then there's also Sandra Ingerman.
Perfect. Absolutely, Sandra Ingerman. Absolutely, sort of.
Yeah.
She's gold. She's gold dust, and she's done some beautiful books on ancestors, and just general working as a shamanic practitioner, learning to journey. And then read the books, and then get yourself to a course.
And it's the experience that's important. Right.
It's yeah, and if you haven't got a drum and you don't, I don't know how much they are now, 70 plus. You do it with your hands, just getting that beat going, drumming it there, or download it. There's lots of free downloading drums that you can download. Michael Harner again, his organization. There's a lot of free stuff that is given out. Use it, practice it, read it, and just practice. But also don't give up, because a lot of people go, oh, I don't know how to do it. And there is a way to get down to the lower world, and there's a way to be taken up to the upper world. And the middle world is this reality, but spirit interpenetrates it. Hence, we can journey from here to do healing work in the Middle East or wherever around the world. And we do that, work with the land, meet the different spirits in the different caves and in the stone circles. It's intention. And if you can get a picture going as well, so that you are imagining, you're seeing, and then it is using your imagination as well as that focus and that clarity. And things you will question at first: is this real? How could this possibly be? um, One of the things, just be aware of that when you are working with allies, especially power animals, you might get healings, and sometimes the healings are dismemberment, which might mean that you meet dragon, and dragon comes and you're having a great big cuddle or riding it, and then suddenly it snaps you and pulls you down. Big claw rips down and pulls things out, and you're going, is this good? Is this supposed to be good? In spirit, you won't feel anything. That there is no pain, but you will be pulled apart, but you will then be put back together, and that's where a healing takes place. You may have dreams where you are exploded, pulled apart by things, and again, as long as you're being put back together, then you are receiving healings on different levels.
Absolutely. Sergey says, one night I woke up with a beautiful green entity near my bed. It looked so positive, but the only thing I could say was to ask it to let me sleep because I was so tired. I'm wondering how I can get in touch with it again.
Ask.
Yeah.
And chances are it never left. It's still there, and ask what it meant to you. What was the relationship?
Yeah.
You are allowed to ask questions, and if you try not to make them yes, no. Try and make them things like, what is the benefit of me meeting the green goddess, or whoever this was, or this plant, or whatever? And because then you will either get a picture show, a journey, which you can then record or write down, or record it speaking wise, and just check everything that has happened, that happens during that journey. You may get direct revelation, where you might get words coming to you, or a voice, or whatever. And again, it's always very gentle. Spirit will look after you. Spirit is going to be kind to you. Spirit wants to work with us.
Yes.
Spirit does work with us. Sorry, I should say, every single second of the day. It's whether or not we can be asked to sort of give it that acknowledgement, or sort of realize that there is a harmony, there is a relationship, and it's a good thing.
Well, Julia says, I'm one of those who don't know what to do, how to do it. Been trying for 4 years now and nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Julia, if you've been on a course or just doing it yourself. I have no idea.
Sometimes we can put a stress or a hex on ourselves when we start saying things, I can't do it. Well, what you're saying is, I can't do it. I want something means I want something. You're not in a, or I need is a state of needing, a state of wanting. I can't. So it's about just being open. I've worked with people for 2 years who tried to journey and could never journey. Some people won't. So what we do is try to find another way of working. There's lots of other ways out there. Go through the senses.
Yeah.
What can I see? What can I smell? What can I feel? Sometimes you'll get a mixture of all of them, sometimes nothing. What is just coming into my head? Maybe there is a healing that needs to take place first. Maybe there is something about having to get that trust, to get that belief. Maybe you have to do a pilgrimage. I don't know. I mean, we're all different, but be careful of spending lots and lots of money, because there's always going to be someone saying, I'll teach you this, I'll do that. And then sort of you end up spending tons of money and getting nowhere or nothing. Try to find someone to work one-on-one with you.
Yeah. Anne Beer says Sandra Ingerman's 7-week course was a wonderful introduction. It was a great way to learn about journeying and led me straight to OBOD. And for her, it was a seamless transition.
Yeah.
Francis Joy, who's in Finland, he teaches core shamanism and soul retrieval work.
Yeah.
And now Sean McCann, I've got a parishioner, also OBOD, asked me about Harner recently, but I wasn't familiar with him at the time. Pleasant synchronicity to encounter someone who's practicing in that vein.
Yeah.
So it's always great that the synchronicities that happen on these chats.
Yeah.
And then Mai, who's actually in the Philippines, at May, I think. Is it possible to have more than one spirit animal? It's like they're unveiling themselves one at a time.
Yeah. That's probably one of the biggest questions. People says, "What's my spirit animal?" And I say, "You only want one. What do you do in life? How many can you have? How many do you wish? You can have as many as you want. How many that can come in and work with you on specific things? Um, as a healer, or working with spirit to do healing work, we have as many allies as we need to do the work, the different types of work. And then you will find that the more you are open, the more allies will just come in and help power you up, will help power the situation up. So you can sit there and after a number of years working, 25, 30, 40 allies, ancestors, groups of ancestors. Don't just get stuck on, I've got one group of ancestors and that's my fathers. You got your fathers, your mothers, you got your husband or your wives or your partners, their lines. You might have the spirits of the land, the ancestors of druidry, the ancestors of shamanic work. You have the star people, because at some point further down in your ancestry there are going to be connections to the star people, past lives. If you know that you have past lives, hey, you've just got another group, another ancestor group. Start collecting them, start asking about them, because I tell you now, as you're calling them in, I place them around myself. So I start off with, okay, I'm not going to name them, but the animals, one there, one there. And I feel them, I see them, I know they're there. And then from behind, then within, there's 4 within, and then there's 1 there. So they're starting to pack up. And with all healing, you can you stack energies, and you're just calling them in. You're getting stronger and stronger. Then all the ancestors come in, the ring, and you will see them. We all see them differently. I see them as a ring. I see may have a symbol animal for each I call them clans. But I will see also a ring of them around me. So suddenly, and it's protection. Boom, boom, power. So as many as 10 ancestor clans there. Then I'm bringing in all the specifics, ones that I know that I need to work with that night, but any night I will call them in. Then the gods and the goddesses. And then because I work with the Ohm, with the trees, the spirits of the Ohm trees, the gods and goddesses affiliated with the Ohm trees, and all the ones that I've met and had interaction with, suddenly you're piled in hundreds, and it's just energy. Nothing's going to nothing can hurt you, nothing's going to get through. And the energy that you are then sending out as a healer to specific people, or working as a distant healer with that person's energy in the room, it's as if they are in the room.
Yeah.
And it's just comfortable sitting in that energy.
Great. Devar has a question about, are you ever worried you won't come back? I worry sometimes that I'll go too far and never return.
No, I know that one, and I teach journeying. I do journey every week, once a month in Cambridge. I run a journey circle at Abington Barn, and they're new people that haven't journeyed before. So I say, come along, and we do a little bit of work in the first 5-10 minutes. We do a protection circle. As long as you do a protection circle, you are protected. You bring in your allies. They're with you. They're going to get you back. So again, it's that trust, it's that thing. Yeah, you drum and you go, where's your intention? So my intention is to go somewhere. If you're worried about coming back, my intention is to go somewhere. And when I've finished, my intention then is to come back. So put it there right at the beginning. get used to putting those provisos in there. When you've got to wherever you want to go and you've done whatever you want, you have to remember it's up to you. It's your responsibility to come back. If you're worried about that, you can always say to yourself, well, hang on, you can write yourself a letter. Dear Tom, dear Thomas, you need to come back. You have a wife, you have a cat that needs feeding. The children sort of, they don't live with us now, but there is whatever reasons to come back. I have to be at work tomorrow. And you write them down. You read them before you go. It's within there. You will come back.
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario, your line, if you want to visualize that there's a line, elastic line pinging out to wherever you go, you're going to ping back at some point. You will come back.
You could do what Granny Weatherwax used to do. She used to put a sign that says, "I ain't dead."
Oh, she was special.
Linda, who's in Australia, she says, when my sons were in boarding school, I used to visit them remotely and they affirmed they felt my presence. That's just wonderful.
Absolutely. And there is something unique about the mother and the child relationship. You've carried those children 9 months or whatever. So, however much the father can love the child or whatever, I always think the mother's going to have that special. And it's when they're young, you've got the astral link anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's why in teenage years, when they start to rebel and everything, is because they're creating their own astral bodies, their own astral link, which means that they're slowly coming away from the parent one. There's always going to be a bit of that because we are linked, obviously, but they're creating their own astral bodies, their own astral energies, which means that at some point they will be separate from us, but not separate, because you can never be totally separated.
Yeah, and absolutely. And then Brian is saying this is around, people saying I can't do it, is some people are visual, some are somatic, some just know that it's happening. Some people can hear the journey. Every journey is so different, and this is so true, we can become attached to a certain way it should be, which can actually hinder the process. Some people see in Technicolor, others see in sepia, or others just sense it. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think it can be, I know when I was doing my training, we'd go on a journey, then you come back and you share it in a circle, and then somebody's saying, oh, I went on a rainbow colored unicorn and I went 3 times over the moon, which was amazing. You're kind of going,
yeah. and
Pat says, I went to a course once and everyone else got tigers and wolves and panthers. I got 3 for me: magpie, badger, and pike. Yeah. And it's that the first time I did a journey, I got a chicken and I thought, for God's sake, can I not do something better than that? So not about the grandiosity of,
it's not,
it's what you need. Who comes and who's needed comes,
And the fact that someone's turned up.
That's right.
What's more than, and to be honest, your chicken might be a magic chicken. It's golden eggs. It's sort of, even that's a goose, but it's you don't know.
Caridwen.
Hey.
Caridwen.
Yes.
Was a hen. Of course, I didn't appreciate that at the time because I hadn't known the story. Anyway, Julia, who asked the question, thank you. I'm in the OVIC grade and Felix hold me back from being able to complete the grade. I'd say let go, Julia. Just be.
Yeah.
So it's it was lots of Devar comes back. I've gone far sometimes and I still worry that either I get lost or I find a place that I just don't want to leave. Aha. You see, you always have to come back. I don't worry about my well-being. I worry about my family if I'm gone. And I think we all have to come back, and that's just it,
Yeah. There will be a time when it is time that you will go.
That's right.
And we will, but we'll be picked up by whoever, the right people to move on.
That's right. That's right. And it's interesting. A lot of people have kind of really resonated with our conversation. Brandy says, I agree. I was attached to the idea of visual interactions, but mine have come through in sound and hearing voices, not in the lock me up way. That's okay, Brandy. And then Linda says to Julia, I think patience is the key. I was feeling stuck and now I'm just waiting. That's what it is.
If there's fear, If there's worry or anxiety, that is all, and that's an energy, which
Yeah,
means that you're holding, it's closing, you're doing this. Whereas it's that thing, trust it, trust the process, trust yourself, trust spirit, that you will go and ask for something small at first.
that's right.
There was one guy that he went down to the lower world, and he came back and he said, "Oh, I'm not happy, Thomas." And I went, "Why is that? Why is that, Tim?" And he said, "All I saw was this tree with beautiful legs on." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "I wanted something. I wanted," and I said, "Well, what you want and what you get," and sort of it. And I thought, well, there's a guy who's never going to be satisfied with anything, and the fact that he saw this beautiful tree with decorations on and whatever, that was telling him a lot of stuff, giving him a lot of information, but he didn't see that.
That's right. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
Albie says it was trimming a large Leyland hedge. Bless you, trimming a Leyland hedge. That's a labour. Yesterday, I became aware of a robin who's with me constantly. Sometimes I could see him, sometimes not. It really felt like spirit being with me, protecting me. I mean, robins are brilliant for that. Just,
Yeah. Well, birds in general, as we know with Obodon's teaching and whatever, ask your questions as you're walking down the road, as you're driving. Be careful when you're driving your car, but check the birds. I was doing that this morning, and in preparation for tonight, in many ways. And I was walking down the road, and I said, "Okay, Spirit, give me a sign of blah 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 blah," and there was nothing. And I went, "Oh, is that it?" And then suddenly the sky exploded with well, it seemed like hundreds. There's probably about 20 seagulls, blackbirds, a number of different types of birds, all flying around. I thought, great, that's brilliant. You will get your answer, and nature will deliver.
Yes, absolutely. And Anne says to Pat, a wise teacher once commented to me that all beings are to be welcomed, even if the animal is a snail or a beetle. All deserve equal respect and gratitude when they visit, because they all have important things to teach us. And which is so true. And then Philosophical Phoenix says, this is such a beautiful series of affirmations, confirmations of my own experiences, about which I've wondered and had questions for a long time. Thank you. Yeah. And Francis, who teaches core shamanism up in Finland, he says, learning to dance can be very helpful for attracting helpers. So
absolutely, free the body, free the emotions, free the mind. It's going into, it's not necessarily trance or ecstasyism or anything like that, but it's that freeing, and it's that sort of just being able to, and it's an expression, and it's a calling, and it's an energy, and it's a vortex. And you look at certain, I think they were the fakers that used to spin round and round and round. There's just so many different ways, and dancing is a beautiful way, because if you do truly do it and just let go, think of all the inhibitions that are just going out the way, and so you're stopping stuff getting in the way of the thought of the calling in as well.
Yes, and it's interesting. Geraldine says grain is one of my allies, so it's again spotting the extraordinary within the ordinary, and spotting just beautiful. Jamie says, I don't understand this lower and uppercut world reference. My life is a doorway I stand in until I don't. Also, the rest is just words within world, and this world is just part of that interconnectedness. I've definitely traveled. I've stood in the doorway, and others have traveled with me. I've also experienced being in the eye of other beings. Time is also another experience I've encountered from different perspectives. It's more like experiencing an en-dessous sphere of existences. So everybody has a different way of engaging the worldview.
Absolutely, the map of the shamanic map of upper world, lower world is a way of explaining certain things. Once you've been working, or you may just do it naturally, you just walk between the worlds.
Yeah,
there is no upper or lower. There's just spirit, and my journeys tend to be, my intention is to journey to spirit for whatever it is, or I just do it.
Yeah.
And there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's your way. You find your way that works for you, and that will be your right way.
Yes. And like Linda says, you have to state your intention, that your intention is to return. which is important. And Belinda says, I got stuck one time. My guides helped me fly back. And again, that's something else, is that when you travel, either, okay, I'm going to come back. It may be a given. I would always have, that's my understanding of coming back because I need to, but also that you work with guides who are there to support you on your way back, or to take you back.
Yeah. The guides want you to sort of to come back and again and again and again and again. They're not going to throw you to the wolves, if I can use that term, unless
Yes.
they are a wolf.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah. And Francis says, again, the teacher from Finland, it's a way of learning about liminal spaces and places. This is where we meet with the spirits. Yeah. And Ferdiet, on a more serious note, I really want to get I Ain't Dead t-shirt, just so people are sure. I think it's brilliant. Brilliant. Yes. And Stephanie wants a magic chicken. And Julia Foyle says, what if nothing turns up? And I remember the first time going on a journey, I thought, I'm going to get nothing. I'm going to get nothing. I'm going to get nothing. But then if you're expecting Technicolor and you don't get it, you see nothing. But it's about opening to what might it be? Just I don't think there's nothingness there. I think there's always something, and it's about just, what can I sense? What can I feel? And then get your, this is stupid, I'm making this up, narrative out of your head, and being open, because I don't always see things, but I sense them.
Yeah. Open the focus. It's like a camera. If you're too close to something, I see nothing. I just see a bit of red there. Where is it? Boom, boom, boom. There. It's almost like, now pull back. Have a look. Have a look around you. Look below you. Okay, there might not be anything there, so I need to move on. So, okay, I'm going to move on, move a bit further in, where if it's upper world, lower world, or in spirit, or reaffirm your intention. My intention is to meet with spirit or to have an experience. Sometimes the experience that you're having is what you're there to get, and so it might well be a trust building exercise, but don't give up in the sense that there's nothing here, I see nothing, because even seeing nothing is seeing something.
Yes.
You are having an experience, as Eimear was saying. So it's that case of don't be afraid to walk further, look behind you, lift things up.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a door, ask question. If there's an invisible door here, let it now be visible. Bang, suddenly there will be a door, there'll be a shutter or a window. Can I open the window? Of course you can do whatever you want.
And you may not see the door, but you know it's there. It's like, because if you're in the dark, you can still move. Yeah. You can still feel things. It's about not getting caught up in the rightness or the realness of it. It's just, Ferdy says, I tend to trust myself when it's a non-traditional, non-high status guide. Maybe I'm just more likely to listen to learning from a hedgehog than a wolf or an eagle. And then Brandy says, but what if something great turns up? You see? And hedgehogs are pretty great. So, yeah. So Eva says, when I was making my drum, we first had to do a journey to connect to an animal that was willing to be our ally and give us their skin. For her, a mouse showed up. I tell you, there's many mice to make that drum. I don't know, Eva, what was the drum, the skin you used, or skins, if it was a mouse? I think that's right. Wow. So that's lovely. A tiny drum, says Brandy. That's lovely. So
yeah.
And Anne says, that's okay too. For me, the message that day when no one turns up is one of quietness and acceptance and being kind to oneself. And there's a nice reframe. Yeah.
And that there are days when it doesn't work. Even, sort of, I've been doing this for ages, but then I just go, oh, it's one of those days. That's fine. Maybe I'm not in the right place. Maybe I've come, and it's an acceptance and a trust that I know tomorrow when I do it. And I work a lot. I sort of do night times and mornings, and so I'm continuously doing the work. But sometimes it is as if Spirit's saying, now have time. You don't need to be here. Just go away.
Likewise, you ring somebody and they don't answer. Or someone's away, and it's like, it's not a reflection on your inability to make contact. It's for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Jamie says, is this lower and upper world? And if you know, you know, you no. Is it something you cannot share? Is it inside knowledge? I'm not sure I understand your question, Jamie. I mean, obviously you're sharing
Yeah.
some stuff, you know.
Yeah, and this is stuff that you'll find in books, things that you'll find that are in teachings. It's what people don't like to give 9 times out of 10 is the name of what their specific power animals are, because that goes back to, if I tell you too much information, will I lose that? Will the ally go? Will they lose the power of that animal? And I don't want other people to know who my animals are. I when I'm teaching, I will give examples and I will say certain things. I'm not going to say it tonight, but there are times when you make those decisions, or you talk with your allies to say, is that okay if I mention your name? And they will either say yes or no. Some traditions say never tell anybody what your power animals are, and other traditions say, well, yeah, why not? It's up to you.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting what's happening in this this conversation, because there's you and I are conversing, and then there's our viewers are. Julia, who said that she wasn't experiencing anything for 4 years. Anne Beer has made me see that nothingness is what I need in a life full of demands. Thank you, Anne. And thank you for hearing that, Julia. Absolutely. I think this is just so, so beautiful. And then Philosophical says, and I agree with her, and I think this is what we are saying is, isn't it to be expected that we all have a different framework for inner experience? Of course, because we experience life differently. No path is the same, even when you find parallels. Difference isn't contradiction.
No.
It's difference. And Brian says, and sometimes we start the story, we start the journey with the story, and it comes to life. It's an organic thing. Yeah. Okay. Somebody has this question. Druids explain their knowledge without modern science, but they knew that we have to protect nature with modern science. We can explain climate change. What do you see as the task today?
Can you unpack that one?
I'm not too sure. I think maybe you could explain it a little bit more. They might come back. So anyway, listen, you are a musician. You're a singer. You have your guitar there.
I do, yeah.
It's time maybe for a bit of music.
Yeah. So this is a song called Beautiful Bird. I wrote this one when I was being trained as a shamanic practitioner, and I'd done this walk along this pathway, and I was about to enter a wood. And we were encouraged always in the mornings before training starts, you go out into nature. You spend as much time as possible walking the land, into the trees, talking, just experiencing. So we would do 2-3 hours in the woods or on the land before 9 o'clock, before we had breakfast or anything, and then afterwards as well. And this particular day I went there, and I think it was a thrush, this bird just appeared. And it danced in front of me, and I went, "Oh, hello, bird!" And we just started to have this conversation. And it moved a little bit, and I moved a little bit, and then it stopped. It danced, so I did a little dance, and we laughed, and we just had this interaction, walking along this path into the woods. And it happened the next day as well. This bird arrived at probably a completely different time, but this bird was there, and I was just having these interactions with it, and it was just one of those synchronicities. It was a beautiful moment, which could have meant so much, or could have meant nothing. But for me, it was an incredible, powerful experience, and something that I came away with. And I just thought, going to write a song about this. So, excuse me. So it's a song called "Beautiful Bird." I'm on the tail end of of a cough and a cold, so you are beautiful bird, beautiful bird, Got you tabbed upon the path. I see you moving forward every day. I feel your light explode, reflecting passion as you go. You are beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird. Catch your flight across the trees, color shooting from your feathered dress. I see what you give to me, building dreams upon the vision quest. Got to keep them boots on low, we won't ever let go. I need to seek a new tomorrow. And if I ever let the day go out of fashion, I need to make a new tomorrow. Today, you are beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird. Can you lead me to the sacred path? Warn me off those dark and dangerous ways. I seek a new advance. Take a breath and dance your secret ways. Got to keep them boots so low, we won't ever let go. I need to seek a new tomorrow. And if I ever let the day go out of fashion, I need to make a new tomorrow. Today, you are beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird, beautiful bird. Beautiful bird.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've just one question.
Yeah.
Michael, I never have difficulties journeying or coming into contact with spirits. My issue is once I'm there, I lack purpose and inspiration what to do. Any suggestion?
Why are you going there? What is the intention? So sometimes it's just my intention is to journey to this place to sit with the spirit. Please, can we merge? Can I feel your energy? Can I feel the power? Can I feel the power of this place? Can you give me some information about this place? What is the history of this place? How can I help? Can I do some healing for this place? Can I receive some healing from this place? What would spirit like me to know about visiting this place? Why did I choose this place? So you can ask a number of questions. What is the benefit of me being at this place? So again, it's not the yes, no questions, but we're asking for more information. See what comes into the mind. If there's a journey, if you start to be taken on like a film of something happening, or words or sounds or a symbol. And if you get a symbol, take it back, write it, draw it. What is it empowering you to say about that? Or look it up online and research. You'll have been given information, you will get something, and you have to then do a bit of work yourself. And that's the joy when you start working with spirit, doing the research. I do this when if I suddenly say, I want to do a workshop. I sit there, I tune in, I want to create a workshop, give me some ideas. I get loads of ideas. I then know that I want to work with somebody, because it's great to deliver two-person workshop, two people working together. It's more powerful, or can be more powerful. And then you start to develop things. You research, you question, you journey. You're refining. It's like writing a book or a story. You're constantly editing, and that's the joy of it. You know, if you sometimes you get one thing and you think, is that it? Is that all I'm going to have to do with this? Well, no, pull it apart, play with it, because it's going to be so thick with meaning, so
Mhm.
full of power and energy, and lead you on a journey. And that, when you're actively doing, somebody said something about a pilgrimage before. Well, the pilgrimages can be in many different ways and forms. You don't have to get on a train or cycle somewhere or walk somewhere. It could be a train of thought. Follow that and see what is unveiled. And it is an unveiling. Things start to come to you, and then it's that joy and that excitement, and the heart sings.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer. There's been lovely responses to your song, and lovely encounter with the thrush. Philosophical says, two of my cats jumped up on the screen and listened very closely. Nice little birdie.
Yeah,
That was a lovely song. So
licking the lips. Yeah.
just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Uh, and then Michael says, thank you a lot. I guess I'll just try asking and seeing what comes to me from the spirits in the land.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lovely. Great.
Yeah.
So you're also a writer.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you want to just tell us a little bit about, I mean, how many books have you written? 3, 4? There's,
Well, there's 4 books in total. There's the 2 books are fantasy short stories,
okay.
and then there's 2 books which are to do with OM tree healing. There's
Yeah.
one which is
Are these books available on your website, the Cambridge Core Shamanism?
they're all on Amazon, so you
I
just look
just
for
need to
Thomas
put them in.
Marty.
Okay. I just need to put them in the things there. So what's that one
Yeah.
called?
This is the beginner's book of OM tree healing.
Oh my God, what have I done here? Something's gone. Yeah, sorry. Okay, the beginners
Book of OM, spelled OGAM,
Yeah, I know
which
that one.
causes a lot of fuss
I understand
among
it.
the
Irish.
yep,
Okay.
tree healing.
Yeah.
And the second book to do with the OM series is The Spirit of the Wand.
Okay, the spirit.
So that's working with spirits of wands. I make wands which has come out of the work with Obod, but I've probably taken it to a complete distraction where I've probably got 200 wands. I can't stop. It's one of those things that I go out for walks and I bring a bag with me, and I pick up. I will only use dead wood or wood that has fallen. I pick it up. I talk to the spirit of the tree, spirit of
Yes.
the branch. We create a beautiful piece of work, wand. In the book, I teach people how to empower their wands, to get the names of their wands, to use the
Brilliant.
elements within the wands, and it's good fun. The 2 other books are fantasy stories, The Way of the World and A Little of What You Fancy. Just short stories, sort of The Way of the World are shorter stories than A Little of What You Fancy. Fantasy stories. I wanted to say about, or most of my life, I'd always wanted to be in the light and thinking that was the most important place to be. Be in the light, be in the light, be in the light. I was out of balance. It wasn't until through the shamanic training that I went and had a look in the dark
Yep.
and found the feminine, found the creativity, found the nurturing, found life, found reality, and had the nerve then to write about those things. Because in the past, my poetry had become so boring because it was all about love, 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 which isn't boring in itself. But if it's just one-sided, there's nothing there.
Yep.
So let's pull love apart. Let's go through those relationships, those love things, those triangles, and explore it. And so within the stories, it's very sort of talking about. There's this ghost stories. There's and all about energy. So it's exploring sort of my world of this type of work, spirits and entities and stuff like that. And thoroughly enjoyable. So if when people say, "How do I tune into my creativity?" Well, I did a journey to the was it the fountain of creativity, and I went into the dark. So I went with my and I would give you the name of that power animal was a lion with a little light on the end of his tail. So we were walking through this darkness, and things were skittering around the edges.
Mhm.
I was going, oh, this is the dark. How am I supposed to be here? And when I met with the fountain of creativity, and I got bathed in it and washed in it, and then suddenly you had vision, you had light, and you thought, this is gold dust. I can now write about things that I'd always been worried that I shouldn't be writing about, which might have gone back to old religious sort of upbringing and fear and guilt and stuff like that. But suddenly it was all being cleared out, is washed, and it's just fun. And it
Beautiful.
was a case of just try it and do it and write it. And I'm heavily dyslexic, so my editing was, sort of 50, 60 times going through each story and then realizing I'm not even reading. I'm just sort of just more. So having to go in and again and again and again. And I'm sure there's bits of it that probably still grammatically a bit wrong or whatever, but it is what it is. And it was fun to do.
Well, it's interesting, not allowing your dyslexia to stop you from being a writer, and that's what's really important. So in any of this journeying or whatever, it's about not allowing.
There's so many gifts with all of these things, and sort of science or life or whatever always says schools, these are problems, these are issues. They're not. They free you up in so many other ways.
Mhm.
Free your mind up to explore, to investigate. Don't let any of those labels stop you doing anything you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just wondering what you seem to have achieved so much, writing,
Yeah.
singing, your practice and all of that. What are you most proud of in your life?
My family,
Yeah.
first and foremost, has to be. When I was a young man, I never thought I'd meet anyone. All my relationships in my 20s and 30s just went south. I was dreadful. I didn't know what a boyfriend was supposed to do or be. And to be honest, I was very selfish, and I was off doing my own thing as an actor. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that I came first. And then when I did meet my wife, who thankfully is still my wife, and I give so many thanks. So I wake up in the morning and go, is she there? She's there. Hooray. Last thing at night, she's still here. Great. And she's been my cornerstone. She's been my greatest champion for me, pushing me to do things, um, and also my greatest teacher as well in so many ways. Uh, and she said a couple of months ago, yes, I think I've trained you quite well. And I said, think, well, in the household duties and things like that, yes, you have, but it's learning about responsibilities. It's learning that everything matters. And so my greatest achievement is to have three fully grown children doing whatever they're doing. I'm being incredibly proud of them, and my wife and what she does, and the fact that we are together. I
That's
think for me
brilliant.
that's my greatest thing. It has to be,
That's
because for
wonderful.
so long my life was empty. The biggest things that were missing was that.
Yeah, yeah. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Jamie says, I'm dyslexic too, very neurodivergent. Dyslexia, besides being a big and exhausting challenge at times, has a list of gifts. I'm so glad you shared this and your perspective on it. Bravo. And then Nimi says, my lovely English teacher at school told me never to worry about getting the letters in the wrong order. It's the ideas that are important. And I think that is so, so
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that applies to everything, not just writing, but like people talking about, I can't journey right, or I can't do this. It's not about doing it right. It's about just opening yourself to the experience and it
Absolutely.
being your way of engaging with spirit, the other world, guides,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and
And
opening
yeah.
yourself up to that.
And you find, I mean, I found that I've definitely been guided, and then even within the Obod and the Druid course, from Bard to Ovid, into the Druid, the philosophies, the and now what you're going to do with yourself, Thomas? You've done this, you've achieved these things, blah blah blah. Are you going to sit on your laurels and just go, well done, Thomas, or are you actually going to help the world, be part of the world, interact with the world? And that's why sort of that led me into starting my own training centre, which is the Cambridge Core Shamanism, WW.
I'll put that in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, came, and that was a new thing because I'd always been saying, I'll wait, and it was a safety thing. I'll wait until I retire to do anything like that. And I was teaching people individually. I'd always been working on that, on the healing side of things. And then suddenly, it was just one of those. No, you got to do it now. I've got 2 more years before I retire or can retire. So let's set it up now. Let's seamlessly smooth, work into that. And the confidence one gets. And as I look back to when I first started teaching, and what I said earlier about, I was just scared. I was most of my life, the early life was just fear, one big fear factory.
Mhm.
And so the acting world was a great world to be in because that's full of fear and worry. And it wasn't until I got out of that world that I started to look at myself and see there was a lot of worth there, that I had achieved a lot of things, and how that can change your life. One thing just saying I did that okay. I'm allowed to say okay. I'm not going to say brilliantly, but I will say okay. And as we know, when we work in counselling, sometimes being good enough is good enough, and in actual fact is the start of a doorway opening, and you're on your way up or down or wherever. It doesn't matter where you're going, but you're moving.
Absolutely. Jamie says, "Oh, I wish my teachers had told me that. I would have spent a lot less energy on battling the red pen and reduced grades."
Yeah,
God, I remember the fear of the red pen, and
yeah,
just how undermining it is. And I'm not too sure how uh, how useful it was. Maybe it was. I don't know, but I can still remember the fear of it getting something back in red. Um, Ferdy, it says, "Write, write, write. Just get words on the page and worry about editing much later."
absolutely. Yeah,
And I think that's so, so important.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just, it's a terrible thing to say, but it's such a truism, and it's so important. Whatever we do, find the joy, find the fun, even those mundane things. So some of the best times that I have when I'm ironing, and I can put the football on.
You iron?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Well done. Okay.
I have been taught well. No, I've always enjoyed ironing actually, because that's quite a meditative, and it's that thing in my head. I just think I need stuff to be in order. So if I'm ironing my clothes in my head, I need to have clean rooms and that. I can be mucky, and I'm a terrible collector. If I showed you my collection of ones, this is a tiny proportion just there. Guitars, I got, there's 2 here. There's probably 2 in most rooms. Not all of them work. They've got strings missing because my daughter's a singer-songwriter as well, my youngest one. And so when she comes home, she'll pick up guitars and strings will break, and she doesn't tell me until I
Oh,
discover them later. So you go, oh, what have you done? Um, yeah, and so there is that sort of like turning things over regularly.
oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandy says, "I don't use red ink because the students just have a reaction to it. I use green."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Um, so we're coming close to the end of our time. So, what concerns do you have about the modern world?
Okay. In one sense, everything. Um,
You can only mention one.
okay. But I'm going to twist turn that round and say I don't focus on what I know is not working or whatever. I try to focus on what I can do to make a difference.
Okay.
Where I work with young people, so it's a ripple effect. If I can be a good mentor, if I can be a good counselor, or healer, or however that's taken, whatever that means, that's going to go out and that will affect the chaos around. Um, I do what I can do, and I give my support to everybody else that do it. And belonging to organisations like OBOD, to Call Riche in Cambridge, meeting like-minded people, that has a healing effect greater than anything else, because it lightens people and it lightens the way that we're thinking about things. So if we can bring more love and joy and whatever into the world, and that will help us think of ways of getting things sorted.
Mm-hmm. I suppose, yeah. So that's you've answered my second question. Like, what gives you hope is about being able to have a sense of a connection, being able to do, support, guide, challenge, empower. That it gives you meaning to actually continue in the world with it today. Yeah.
But we're here for a reason, Eimear, and that's
Yeah.
why we've chosen this time to be here, so that we can be the light. We can bring the bringers of the light, because the world's going to change. The consciousness is rising, whether we like it or not. So let's jump on board. Let's be part of that change willingly, because then sort of it's going to be an easier ride than those that don't and are going to be in a different dimension doing whatever they're going to be doing. And good luck to you, sir. It's let's move with it. Let's be part of the positivity.
Brilliant. So my last two questions, it's one question, part A and part B. It's always my last question. What is your favorite season, and what is your favorite ceremony on the wheel of the year to celebrate?
Okay, autumn is my favorite time of the year. My birthday's in November. I'm a Scorpion. I love the change, the colours, the leaves, fresh air blowing out. The summer, which can be too hot for me, I hide indoors. So the autumn, and it changes, ring changes, and so Samhain for me is the veil, the lifting of the veil as well. Is that beautiful time of change, of chaos, of interaction with spirit, which is, I mean, it's there anyway, but there is that now we can actually do it legally. And the ceremonies that we hold, either privately or as a group or whatever, are always fun. Good.
Brilliant. And today in Ireland, today is the last day of Samhain. It's the 30th of November. So Samhain for us lasts a whole month.
Oh,
so
wow. Oh,
we're heading now from today or from tomorrow, starting and heading on towards midwinter. So it's been just lovely chatting to you, Thomas. And I know from the reactions of our listeners, I really enjoyed it. Everyone sharing their experience.
Can I just do one bit of selfless sort of publicity? I'm running a workshop with Will Fordham, who's our chief. Sort of, he's the what do you call it? Within our group, he runs it and sort of leads it and everything. We're putting together a workshop, and it's going to be I think it's the 25th, 26th, or 26th, 27th of February, up in Cambridge, and it's a 2-day workshop going through the turning of the wheel. So we will be going through both days, four of the rituals, 4 of the festivals, and an experiential journey. So there'll be stories, there'll be dancing, there will be journeys, there will be deaths, there will be life, there will be all the things associated with all the different festivals. We will go through that on a journey both days, so that we become intrinsically linked to each of those, and also the energies associated with all of them.
So is that information available on the website I just put in?
Not yet, but if that's going to go, because we're just finishing up working on that. As soon as we have done, that will be on that one, on that website, on the Cambridge Core Shamanism one.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So
but that's just really for people to sort of have in their heads if they're in and around Cambridge or London. I'm happy to travel up.
Listen, I let you. People just saying it's a great chat. Thank you both. Very interesting, very inspiring. Been so interesting, and I've learned things I've always wondered about. Lovely to listen to your story, Thomas. Lovely conversation and hearing about others' experiences and methods of journey has been so interesting. And thank you so much for sharing. Great chat yet again. So, I mean, I'm very blessed with my guests. So I let you say goodnight, and then I can. I'll let you say goodnight to everybody.
Right. Well, thank you everyone for coming and being part of this evening. Questions are really important. Never stop asking questions. Never stop probing. Never push. My mantra is push your boundary. Never stop pushing your boundary. Life's too short. Just push it. Then rest. Maybe bring it back in for safety, then push, push, push. But don't settle for anything less than you are. And you are worth much more than we ever give ourselves credit for. So please sort of see your worth, look in the mirror and just say, I am worth it, and go for whatever goal is in your life.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
So I
Thank
see
you.
you in a few minutes, because then we look at the comments together. So listen, thank you all so much for joining us, and Esme, very welcome. Thank you so much. Glad I found my way here, because it was one of the first fireside chats that got me to Obot. You're very, very welcome. And I think what works so well for these chats is you, the viewers, who come with your comments and your questions. And I know there's chats that go on the side. I can't deal with all of them, so sorry about that. It's not intention to ignore you, but it's about being able to pick what I can. So again, this is the last day of Samhain, so I wish you all the best. And then from tomorrow, the 1st of December, we begin to head towards midwinter here in the Northern Hemisphere. And of course, we have people from New Zealand here tonight, and Australia, and I'm not too sure what season it is in the Philippines, but heading towards midsummer. Anyway, we are all connected, and this is a wonderful facility to be able to connect us worldwide. So I wish you all the best. Have a good morning, a good evening, a good afternoon, or if you're watching a recording of this chat. And I look forward to seeing you next week for another fireside chat. So in the meantime, be well. Mind yourselves, stay warm if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and stay cool if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, and slán go fóill until we meet again.